Hello, family. This is your friend Kenisha, and welcome to another episode of TransFormNation Thursday. This is an opportunity where we can talk about how can we be an influencer and improve our neighborhood, our community, our state, our nation. How can we influence and change this world? So this week, we are going to be doing a review. We've been talking about emotional intelligence and how can we be transformers of this world through the lens of emotional intelligence. So I want you to sit back and we're going to review the last few weeks. So last week, I hope that you enjoyed our review on character and integrity and how we have to lead from the inside out, because that affects us in a positive way to influence others. And so we're now shifting and moving into this notion we talked on this Tuesday about emotional intelligence. And I'll read to you that definition again. It says this: it's the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and emphatically. And there are going to be 4 or 5 parts of emotional intelligence that we're going to deal with. And so we'll get into that in the upcoming weeks. But I thought, and so last Thursday, we talked about EQ versus IQ, emotional quotient versus IQ, intelligence quotient. And they're not one and the same. And we do need IQ, but it's EQ that continues to allow us to have influence. And then Tuesday, we talked about the pathway to emotions. And boy, that's so important, because if we talked about how we process the emotions first emotionally, or we process things emotionally first, and then we go to our rational side. So then I thought about, what happens if we don't understand that pathway? Then we would be missing something. So here's our definition of missing. It is absent, not found, or lost, or lacking. So I thought about a 3-legged chair, right? If we sat in a 3-legged chair that was not built to be 3-legged, it was built to have 4 legs, how many of you would trust that chair? Would that chair have influence for your bottom to sit in it? I know mine, it's a hard no. And so I wanted to look up this word and I read it to you. What does influence mean? And it says this: it's the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. So if we want to make an impression on someone and have an influence, we want to make sure that we are being transformational as ourselves, but that we understand emotions, our own emotions, so that people will follow us. And you know what leader, a person of influence I thought about? Our former president, Barack Obama. No matter what your political thoughts are about that man, about our former president, he was a man of high emotional intelligence. We talked about, last Thursday, our topic was your influence increases as you learn to control your emotions. We've been talking about emotional intelligence and being people who can control our emotions, so that way our influence increases. And then on Tuesday, we talked about emotions gone wild, and we gave some steps on how you can start to regulate your emotions. So I thought about this word control. What does it mean to control something? And the definition is determine the behavior or supervise the running thereof. So we're wanting to control or determine how we're going to behave, our emotions, and not let our emotions control us. Last Thursday, we talked about a high EQ, which is emotional quotient, and we've been talking about emotional intelligence, causes you and your team to win. And then on this past Tuesday, for Transformation Tuesday, we talked about EQ Improvement 101, relationships. And we talked about this notion of asking for feedback. So now I'm thinking of the word loyalty. And loyalty, the definition is a strong feeling of support or allegiance. And I like that word loyal, or to have loyalty. All right, family, I hope and pray that you have enjoyed our review of TransFormNation Thursdays with our topic of emotional intelligence. When I come back to you next week, we'll be moving on to another topic. This is your friend Kenisha. I love you. Have a wonderful and awesome day.